Gentlemen, Antonio here. All right, today I've got something a little bit different for you. Style advice from an old school Italian tailor. 3 tips on how you can be the best dressed you. Guys, this is a guest post brought to you by Mario Natella. The guy reached out to me and he's like, Antonio, my father he's been a tailor his entire life. Amazing man. I'm not going to follow in his footsteps. He's going to school for aerospace engineering, but he wanted to he's just learned so much from his dad. He wanted to pass on some of this information and did not want it to be lost with his father. Whenever I got this and he was talking to me about the big difference between dressing and covering, and I started reading his paper and talking to him about this, I'm like, this is a great message. So really quick, I'm going to bring up a chart and you'll notice over here I've got on the far end covering. Over here on the other end I have styling. And in the middle I have dressing. And Mario told me that his father used to always hammer about this. Don't just cover yourself, dress yourself. And it sounds so simple, guys. And I felt it just fit with everything we teach here at Real Men Real Style. Let me bring up another quick diagram. But remember, we talk about fit. We talk about fabric, we talk about function, and together, when they meet in that middle, that is timeless style. Guys, that is the same thing as being well-dressed. I just love it. When you can look across time periods, when you can look across countries, and you see men, I just feel this connection with his father, because 50 years ago, he was talking about concepts that I'm now talking about here, and to see them so closely aligned and basically saying the same thing with different words, just makes me feel great about the message I'm getting to you, and should have you rest assured knowing that you've got great information that you can use to be a sharp dressed man in any time period, in any country. Now guys, I'm going to get into the 3 tips that I took, the 3 best tips I took from this article, but definitely go check out the article. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of guest posts like this that are, kind of passion projects. I want to do more from them, and I would love to hear from you guys other ideas of where we could go with these. But tip number 1 is you should have an outfit. You should have clothing that fits you like a second skin. And I love this. He actually, in the article, talks about the Neapolitan jacket, which if you're not familiar, it's basically going to be actually the shoulder area. And that's where there's no padding. It's very light, and it actually has some puckering. But I love in the story, they talk about why did they go with this? What was the Italian, over 200 years ago, why did the Italians change up the jackets they received and go for this type of style? And he talks about it was what Italians wanted. They wanted to have full range of movement. And it makes sense. So they actually focused in on the function while not giving up on any of the style and making the jacket their own. I remember in the Marine Corps, there was a difference between someone that maybe just got their blues at the PX versus someone that went to the Marine shop and actually got them custom fitted and felt great in what they were wearing, and it looked great on them. And another great thing about a uniform, some of you guys I know in the Air Force, Army, you probably remember this, you can actually move around because it's got the higher armholes. You could jump up and knock out a set of pull-ups in your dress uniform. And it was amazing. Basically, it fits you like a second skin, and it made you feel great. It made you feel confident, guys, and that is what you want. So tip number 2 in the article is that money is not the key to being a well-dressed man. Money, yes, maybe makes it easier. Money maybe makes it so that you can afford to go to the best tailor or to be able to buy the best clothing. But a well-dressed man does not have to have money to be a well-dressed man. And to hear that from somebody, in an entirely different country, who grew up in an entirely different time period, I mean, it just goes to show, because I get this excuse all the time. People email me and they're like, Antonio, I just can't afford to look sharp. Guys, I would argue you can't afford not to look sharp, especially if you're up and coming, if you're trying to build up a business. Guys, don't let the money excuse stop you. Now, tip number 3, and this is related to the money excuse, it's not about the money. It is about the man. It's about the individual and you becoming this man who pays attention to detail, who puts forth the effort, who goes out there and educates himself and says, I am curious enough about this and I know it makes a difference that I'm going to learn more. Guys, there's a lot more in the article. I want you to go check it out. Old school style tips from an old school tailor. I really did like this guest post, and let me know again in the comments if you want to see more things like this from Mario or from other guest posters. You guys know I brought in, basically body language experts. I brought in people that are experts at other types of communication, and I'm looking to bring in other experts so that I can expand on what I cover here at Real Men Real Style. And I do value your input, so let me know what else you guys want to learn about in the comments down below. That's it, guys. I'll see you in the next video.